Hey yo, what is up? Welcome to Ninja Geek Games. In this video, we're unboxing and looking at the content of the long-awaited Unfathomable, Battlestar Galactica 2.0. In this game, you're aboard a ship making its way across Atlantic to Boston, but mid-journey there has been a murder under the most mysterious of circumstances, and creatures from the depth begin to climb aboard and wreak havoc. You have to overcome skill tests, rescue passengers, fix the damaged ship in order to safely reach your destination. But if otherworldly creatures weren't enough, you may have to deal with other players secretly trying to hinder your progress as evil cultists lurk aboard the ship. Some you possibly once thought were friends. Let's dive into the deep. So typical of Fantasy Flight Games Arkham Horror Files, we've got some really good artwork on the box. Again, with most of the current games, we have a rules reference and a learn to play guide. So we'll use this one to learn to play the game, and this one when specific areas come up in the game that you need to reference to. We've only got one punch board of tokens. We'll have a look at that a bit more detail when it's out of the cellophane. This looks like the board. Oh, it's quite big. And on the other side here we have some of the dials that I think are attached to the board. Got a load of different cards. Stands for the standees and a D8. And these look like the player reference cards. As with the theme of the game, the monsters are buried in the deep. Well, we've got loads. Varying sizes. So this is the board and it's huge. And the whole board isn't fully represented on this video. Up here is where the Chaos deck sits. Here is the deep where I think monsters sit and wait when they've been left behind by the ship. We've got 2 tracks for travel and rituals, and I think the main aim of the game is to get the travel track token to reach the survive space multiple times. We've got 4 dials for fuel, food, sanity, well it wouldn't be Arkham Horror Files without sanity, and souls. And this is the main board that represents the ship and the sea, and it's split into 3 areas, where you have water spaces around the edge of the ship, deck spaces where you can chill out, sunbathe, whilst dodging monsters from the deep, and interior spaces that have specific rooms such as the chapel, captain's cabin, as well as a brig for naughty people. So these are the characters that you get in the game, and there's loads of them, there's 10. And they all have different skill values under their image, a unique ability, and on the back of these cards is some lore, their starting space and starting items. And I think my favourite has to be, just from looking at them, is Svetlana, the ship surgeon. She looks absolutely menacing. These here are traitor rings, and as the game is a hidden agenda mechanic, I think the standees need to use this if you're revealed as being a traitor, and if I'm correct, they'll sit in there so everyone knows you've conspired to take the ship down and sink it into the deep. Go Svetlana. So there seem to be quite a lot of cards in the game. And these here are the Mythos cards, and they appear similar to those in Eldritch Horror, where you have some lore, 1 or 2 effects, and icons to move monsters and specific tracks. These are the loyalty cards, and there's 3 different types, where you can be a cultist, a hybrid, or human. And I think these are hidden in the game, and depending on which one you own, alters the goal of your game. So we have some items, and it wouldn't be Arkham Files without a deck of spell cards. And these here are 6 different decks of skill cards, where we have influence, law, observation, treachery, strength, and will. And at the start of the game, you'll take a number of cards from all the decks except treachery, shuffle them, and this becomes your chaos deck. And then I think during the game, when a player has to make a skill check, each player places any number of cards in their hand, which can include treachery cards, as well as taking 2 of these cards from the chaos deck. And you flip them over, do a little scoring mechanic, where you can pass or fail the test. And because each player can blindly add any number of cards from their hand, as well as those 2 random cards from the Chaos deck, you're not quite sure who's trying to hinder that task. Sneaky, sneaky. Now these 2 cards are the Captain and Keeper of the Tome, and different players in the game at different times can hold these cards. And what I think that means is the players that hold these cards can then make decisions for the rest of the crew, and I don't think they have to reveal the options that they were given. So these are the Deep 1 miniatures that you'll get in the game, and I think there's 20 of them. The sculpts are okay, they're not brilliant, but they'll serve a purpose. But the game does come with these 2 awesome miniatures that are Father Dagon and Mother Hydra. And they are huge. Absolutely terrifying, and I do not want them to turn up at any point in the game. This is the first or current player token in the game, and these are passenger tokens. And these tokens are located around the ship, and as an action, your character can rescue them and remove them from the game. However, if a deep one comes along and munches up a passenger, you'll flip the token, lose the resource from the dial, and remove the passenger token from the game. So the contents are okay in my opinion, not the best from Fantasy Flight Games product. The card art appears bland and the Deep One miniatures are pretty basic. The Father Dagon and Mother Hydra miniatures on the other hand are great and have awesome table presence, and I really like the board. I've had a flick through the rules and it appears fun, so I'm quite looking forward to playing this. This is Ninja Geek Games. Cheers.